How am I gonna do this?
If you full screen it, you might have to go and share your screen again from Discord and like pick the full screened window.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Cool.
Alright, for everyone who's just joining, give us just like 2 minutes while we get everything set up, and we're gonna get going in just a second. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning in. This is Ashley. She's going to be hosting our resume and interview workshop. We're with Treasure Hacks, and we're really excited to be giving you guys this workshop today. So, without further ado,
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley. And today my goal is to have all of you walk away with the start of your resume and experience a little bit of the interview process. So, even if you have a resume already or have already been through the interview process, I think this will be like a super valuable experience for everyone. As the job market gets more and more competitive, you'll constantly have to stay current with all the new ways companies hire. And you'll also have to constantly update your resume and interview stories as you gain new experiences. So I hope that the tips and tricks that I share here today, help you all. They're all based on my most recent experiences and relevant to today's interview process for small and large corporations. Just to share a little bit about myself, I've always been super career focused. I've had many jobs and interviews throughout my life. My first experience with interviews started when I was connected to the CEO of a real estate group. It was super informal. There was no job or role opening, but I had connections and just needed to convince them that I was ready to work because I really wanted job experiences. So I got that role my summer of my freshman year of college. My sophomore summer, I returned to that same mentor, and he started a startup to which I helped them project manage the software engineering team and roll out new features on their website. And from that experience, I knew I liked project managing. And I was also an athlete at the time. So I applied to a project management internship at Adidas, where I was chosen um, for two separate roles out of over 30,000 applicants. That summer, I worked at Adidas and got a return offer to come back to the company, which is where I am today. So I'm a data analyst at Adidas. Extremely passionate about mentorship and not gatekeeping the knowledge that I have about this process. So, many people have helped me get to where I am today, and it was their kindness and them wanting to see me succeed that gave me everything that I needed. So, these processes are like ever changing, and I'm constantly changing my approach to the job application process. So, I really want to share with you all what I've learned so far. So, we'll go into a little bit of what like a pre-resume actions that I think should be taken as you apply to whatever job that you're looking for or that you're hoping to create, a little bit of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. We'll go into our a resume making process. We'll take some time to kind of indulge in that a little bit, and then we'll go into some interview tips and tricks. All right. So for the pre-resume, what matters more than your resume is being seen, in my opinion. So when you're competing against so many other people, you may get imposter syndrome and you might think that your experiences aren't enough. But trust me, companies are not just looking for your experiences. They also care about how much you genuinely want the job and why you want it and what you would do to get it. And there's plenty of ways to show that. One of which is to reach out before you even apply. So for small companies like 5 to 10 people, this may be reaching out to the CEO on LinkedIn or emailing whomever from the company you want to learn from. For larger companies that have a hiring manager, that might be reaching out to them through LinkedIn or email or talking to them about whether this role would be a good fit for you before you even apply, or might be sending an email for after you apply to let them know that you applied and are excited about this opportunity. So you really need to show them that you're taking this seriously. When I applied to, a little bit about my experience in this, when I applied to the Adidas internship, I knew that it was a good fit and I had a good story. So I talked to my college career counselor about wanting to be in the sportswear industry. She told me that I could connect with that she could connect me with someone who worked there currently. So I talked to them, asked them to meet their old intern, and who then passed me to their current intern, who passed me to their recruiter. So, I met with the recruiter and just discussed the application process to the internship. and let them know why I wanted it so badly, how down with the company I was. And months later, when I actually applied, I reached out to the recruiter again to let them know that I applied. So that first round interview at large corporations are with the recruiter, and he passed me through the 2 out of 3 roles that I applied, saying, I already know you. So I really do think that reaching out beforehand truly makes a difference. So that's my first piece of advice. You got to stand out before they read your resume. So we're going to get into like the resume making process. So I would advise everyone to kind of pull out a sheet of paper or a Google Doc or Word doc. I think I'm going to do this along with you all as we do this together. I'll show you all of my tips and tricks when it comes to being able to use LinkedIn to your advantage, to be able to use just honestly just your Google search and be able to utilize the knowledge that's already out there when it comes to making your own resume. Um, and we'll also save some time at the end for some questions. So let's move into our resume. So, a resume, let's see. I'm going to do this. This is going to be very informal. Let's pull up my resume. So this is my resume. And then I'll show you what it looked like in 2018 when I was 18. Let's see.
Ashley, just so you know, we are seeing your PowerPoint still. So if maybe change what you're sharing.
Yeah, good to know. All right, can you see my resume? Sweet. Yeah, so I'm using Canva. This is my resume. We have um, some personal information, some leadership. We have our skills over here, education, and our experiences. But my resume didn't always look like that. In 2000 and to have the earliest one being 2019. Oh yeah. Let's go. Okay. In 2019, it looked like this. So definitely went through a lot of iterations. I'm gonna go back. All right, so yeah, this is my current resume. It's ever changing. After each job, I'll update it according to my experiences, and before each job interview, I'll update it depending on what I want to apply to next. If you're applying to a small corporation, they will look at your resume in a glance. If it looks interesting, they'll take a deeper dive into it and probably look up your LinkedIn too. At a larger corporation, they'll put your resume through a program that searches for keywords and phrases. And if there are enough matches based on that criteria, recruiters will look deeper into them and will see if you're a good match. So this whole process of like glancing first or running through it through a program is bypassed if you reach out and are already on your radar. So that's just an FYI. That's why it's really important to be proactive and seen before you submit. All right, let's get started with the resume workshop. Pull up a Google Doc. So everyone can pull up a Google Doc or a, oh shit. A Google Doc, Word doc, anything that you can use to write on something. And we're going to go through and create a skeleton of your resume. So, you know, we're going to just come up with the content of it. Formatting is for afterwards because, as you saw with my own resume, it goes through a lot of formatting changes. It's all based on what you like and what makes you stand out. So people often get lost in the formatting too easily. So that's why we're going to make what I call a skeleton of a resume. And you can use this content to create today to put into any format you want. These formats are in the templates of like any writing note program, and you can use Canva for an even more like artsy approach. So today we are going to be applying to a Treasure Hacks Hackathon coordinator. I'm going to put down our name. So I hope you can all join me on this. We'll put down our your phone number, down our email, and you have your option for your LinkedIn. This is just the skeleton, so everything that is going to be in there. We have your education, and we'll have the year that you'll graduate, any majors or minors if you are in college, and then your option for your GPA. And then now we'll have your experiences. So this is where we're going to brainstorm a little bit. So for this part, you're going to put down anything that you've been a part of. You know, a lot of people think that experiences in a resume have to be like paid jobs, but really what you have to realize is that anything that you do is a part of your experiences that make you valid for this job. So any sort of role you've had in a club, any sort of extracurriculars like sports or art or youth groups, any jobs that you had, any projects that you've been a part of. And we'll start off with there. So let's see. In the chat, let's see. Got some stuff in the chat. Nice. Who here is in high school or college? If you are in, say, high school, college, high school. Nice. Okay. Let's say we'll pretend it's my freshman year of college. I want to make sure you guys understand that any experience is can be valuable for this. So we have personally my freshman year. I hope you guys are all doing this on your end. We'll take the next 5 minutes for this, and then I'll shut up and then do this on my own. But take the next 5 minutes, write down any sort of experience that you've been in, whether that's a club or projects or anything that you want to highlight. If you have even hackathons, I think would be good experiences. Anthony, would we be able to put on music? Is that a thing?
I don't know if that worked, but I tried. Do you mind just stopping your stream and starting it again? Ethan's streaming it to YouTube and it's just kind of glitching on his end. So if you could redo it, then our YouTube viewers will be able to see it.
All right. Hope everyone was able to. Oh, can everyone still see my screen?
Yep.
Not worried. Okay. So we can take our experiences here and we'll have two separate categories. So instead of leadership, we can have activities. For experiences, we can leave for the things that we want to highlight. So in our experience, cool. And then we have the founder Pan Asian Club and was the member of the swim team and did some economic group projects. So only one of these is a real paid job, but the rest of these are still valuable experiences that you can definitely include in a resume. And we're going to put them in order from your most recent at the top and then the oldest one at the bottom. So I think did this in 2019. We have some coaching 2018. You guys can also do this for your list. This is probably 19. And we're going to put, you're also going to need to put where you did it. So this is in Orange County, also and we got city my college was in. All right, now that you have your experiences, we want to use the keywords or phrases that recruiters or a program would pick up. So you want your recruiter to look at your resume and say, hey, this would be a good fit. They have experiences um, in the skills that the job needs. So we're going to look at this from kind of like a backwards approach. So we're applying for this treasure hacks coordinator. I talked to treasure hacks before, and if they were to have a coordinator role, like what types of words would be in that job description. So we talked about words like got organized, proactive, innovative, team member, collaborate, communicate, troubleshoot. You guys can apply to treasure hacks after this. Problem solver, passionate, manager, and coordinate. So, you know, how are we going to fill out the bullet points for this? So this would be this part of your resume. Um, one example is to use the words in the job description as the first word in your bullet points. So for example, for swim coach, I can use we're we're hoping that someone who's a hackathon coordinator is organized. So we'll start with organize. So as a swim coach, what did I organize? I organized the swim meets, organized the swimmers. They organized the swim meet. Maybe I was a good team member, or I was able to collaborate with my other coaches. So, but obviously this doesn't say much about me. So another tip is you need to be able to use an action word. So you organize something, you collaborated something, you did something, and then what did it lead to? So organize the swim meet to lead to start a more about organize the swim meet streamline the you streamline the process. You collaborate the coaches to troubleshoot problems or something like that. Another way to do it is you can look up swim coach resume. So this is one of my biggest tips. Once you look up something, you're able to look at Google Images. You can look at all the resumes and you can look at yourself and be like, as a swim coach, what else did you do? Did any of your personal experiences align with something that you can also find online? Encourage a positive attitude, integrity, good sportsmanship, help athletes, instruct students regarding rules. This is a great resource for anyone who's stuck in terms of their words. You can also look at a hackathon quarter resume. So we'll look up job description. What are people looking for in hackathon coordinators? So we got senior events coordinator. You want some detail, execution, follow through, being able to work closely with the program and project owners, contribute to improving training programs. So this would be my one of one of the biggest little tricks that I have. So let's take the next we'll say 5 to 10 minutes in order to look at your own experiences and come up with a few bullet points for each of them in terms of a hackathon coordinator. So feel free to use these words in your resume, thinking and practically thinking about a recruiter being able to glance at your resume and finding these words or a program being able to find these keywords. All right. All right, so keywords, saw something in the chat. Keywords come from the job description themselves. So talked to Treasure Hacks before this about what type of person they would be looking for in a hackathon coordinator, theoretically. So these are the words that they gave me. The keywords that you would be usually looking for is through the job description. So let's see. Here's a coordinator job description. So in an interview, a recruiter would be looking at this or a program would be looking at this and they would be looking for your keywords like providing administrative support, project administrative support, assisting in something. They would probably have database, designing and delivery of questionnaires, things like that. So we're taking those keywords and putting them all together. So then when you are creating your resume, the skeleton of a resume right now, you can use these keywords in the bullet points of your experiences, just as like over here. All right, how's everyone doing? Let's see. Hopefully everyone has took some time and wrote down some of the bullet points that they have. I will show you a little bit about what it means when we are able to use these bullet points. So, let's see. Moving on to the let's do a little screen share. Mhm. I'm going to move on to the interview tips. We'll be able to use the bullet points in the resume skeleton that you've created for our next workshop after this. So, um, we're going to move into the interview. So once you get the recruiter's attention with your resume and messages, if they're interested, they'll contact you for an interview. And that's when you have the chance to tell them directly how excited you are for the role. So that's the special part about interviews. The people who are hiring are looking for enthusiasm, especially from young professionals. They know that you might not have all the skills that you need, and but those are teachable, and someone's passion, excitement, and willingness to learn cannot be taught. So you need to show them exactly that you want the job and that you're willing to do a good job. You can always start out with a hello, ask them how they're doing, thank them for meeting with you, and tell them straight up that you're excited for this opportunity. You can let them lead the conversation. Some questions that you can prepare for are common questions like, tell me a little bit about yourself. Why are you a good fit for the role? And why did you apply to this company? And then you can also prepare answers for harder questions like, tell me about a time when blah, blah, blah. So tell me about a time when you made a mistake and what did you do to overcome it? So I find the biggest help is to write down all of my answers to these questions and just keep reviewing them, ask yourselves these questions, being able to say it and recite it, and having those 2 to 5 stories that can cover almost any question. For example, if someone asks, why did I, let's see, and give you a little answer to a question. So, let's see, if someone asks what's my biggest strength? Blah blah. I could say confidence is one of my biggest strengths, but I can also say that if someone asks why I'd be good fit for this role, I can also say like confidence is one of my biggest strengths. Being able to use that one story for multiple questions. For example, if someone asks like, what's your biggest strength? I could say like, my peers will tell you, and I'd agree that confidence is one of my biggest strengths. I follow my passions with no instruction manual or guidebook. I created a lot of opportunities that you can see on my resume, from jobs at the Plaza Group and the Revive Concierge to my design thinking project with Stanford. I think that I have always had the ability to be a self-starter. And now that I have a strong history and resume, I have the confidence to utilize that ability and make a change. Um, you can use that same kind of answer for like why you think you're the best for this role. For example, for treasure hacks, they're looking for someone who is coordinated and things like that. So I can use my same experience as like a design thinking project with Stanford and say, I think I'd be a really good fit for treasure hacks as a design thinking coordinator. My experience design thinking with my project with Stanford, as I am bringing in some Stanford educators for design thinking into our school and really coordinating, um, you know, professionals as they are able to kind of educate this group that has never heard about design thinking. I really think that my ability to organize this type of project could also benefit treasure hacks and things like that. So I think that's one example of being able to utilize one story for multiple different questions. Um, in our in our interview workshop after this, we are going to be looking at our resume skeletons and creating those stories. So a little sneak peek into that is the 3 questions you'll be matched with one other person, and they will be asking you some interview questions, and you can look at your experiences. You know, being able to think on your feet is a huge skill when it comes to interviewing. If anyone asks you anything, when you're so confident in your resume and your experiences, you should be able to pull anything. Um, and one person will be asking you those interview questions, and you'll be able to look at your resume skeleton and hopefully be able to answer to those to the best of your ability. We'll do it vice versa, where the interviewee is now interviewing, and then we will leave some room for feedback. So I left a few important questions when it comes to feedback, why like what did you remember about me, you know, after I gave you my answers to my questions, like what do you remember about me? I think that's really important information to have. And also, what do you think I could do better, and if they think that you would be a good person for the role, so someone who is organized and is a coordinator and things like that. um, I'll give one more example of a an answer to one of my questions. So I think one more that you will most commonly get is like why you chose that company. So I think what people undervalue is how much corporations love their mottos. So I would really push for you all to really do some research before you reach out, before you have that interview, before someone asks you why you chose that company. Um, I chose Adidas. So their biggest slogan is through sports, we have the power to change lives. So I really play to that. And my answer to that is through sport, we have the power to change lives. That motto's calls out to me because I frankly can't see myself living without sport in my life in some capacity. I've been a part of the athletic community for over 10 years and don't know what it would be like to, I know I can't compete forever. So, as the end of my college career, swim is in sight. Adidas seems like the perfect opportunity to stay involved at even a higher level where I transitioned from sport changing my life to changing other people's lives through sport. Growing up, I didn't see Adidas as an employer, but I saw it as a really cool store to get quality, fashionable shoes. But now that I know that I can work for a leader in the sportswear industry that aligns with my own values and supports creativity while allowing me to work professionally with athletes, I think it's a dream that I'm not willing to let go. So I can see a future at Adidas as I'm professional in the athletic wear industry, and I can guarantee that I'll be persistent in my efforts to reach my goal, just like my 10-year swimming career. So, you know, all of that did not just come out of my ass. You know, I wrote down all of these questions, and I have stories for each of them, and I just recited them. And when someone asks me even like a slightly different question, I'm still able to answer that question because I've prepared for the most common ones, which you can look up, which are tell me a little bit about yourself. Why did you choose this company? What's your biggest strength? Tell me about a time when you made a mistake. You know, those are all things that you are should be able to look at your experiences and kind of create a story around using, and I would write this down. You can also use the STAR method, which is I think it's should be situation, task, action, result. This is how you create a story when it comes to a resume. Situation, task, action, result. So let's say the situation is, understand. Da, da, da. Situation. So, one of my interview questions for Adidas was, how do you display confidence, creativity, and collaboration? So, I'll start out with building a situation. So, it begins with my interest in diversity, equity, inclusion. I took a race and ethnic studies class while primarily learning about the history and theory and like the problems of the world without learning about the solutions and the real things that are happening in DE&I. So I was like craving for a solution. So that's your situation. And now we got a task. So like and an action. Like I sought out the VP of diversity and inclusion at my school to learn more about what actions I could take to change our community. And from that relationship, I was able to find design thinking. Design thinking was the thing that I have been looking for, is the ability to utilize the value in diversity to create innovative solutions. So now we have like a result. Like at the same time, I realized my school has never been exposed to these ideas. So before I reached out, I'm working with the Stanford Design School educators to introduce a problem solving school to my community. So I think this project of mine shows that I'm strong in all of these three C's is what Adidas calls it. I'm confident and contacted the VP of Diversity and Inclusion at my school. I'm creative and I found ways to connect my personal learning experiences with the need of the greater community. And I was able to collaborate as I've been meeting with Stanford educators, administration, faculty, and students in order to be able to figure out how to best introduce this tool to my community. So those are my examples on interview tips and tricks, and especially in terms of building a resume and any sort of tips and tricks you can take away from that. So let's see. I would love to leave the last 10 minutes for any sort of questions or takeaways that you've gotten from this workshop. And we'll definitely have a little bit of an intro to our next interview workshop as well. So feel free to use the chat or and have any questions, or Anthony, if you have a different way of being able to filter through questions, Q&As, I'm happy to do that as well. All right, so to be able to format in terms of, I'll answer the first question. In terms of being able to format your resume, I would choose to do something a little bit more simple if it's your first resume. I think it's really important to bold what you want an interviewer or a recruiter to look at first, because they will take a first glance at it and programs will run through it really quickly. So definitely bold out the titles of the job experiences that you really want them to focus on. Making sure your spacing is completely symmetrical is also extremely important, and definitely don't have any spelling errors. I think I went through about 10 iterations of my first resume before submitting it to Adidas. And I don't think you have to be as extreme, but having other people go through it. Everyone will have opinions on your resume and how you should format things, but you should really focus on taking, the good that you can hear from them and when in terms of feedback, and utilizing everything that you can, but going through multiple eyes would be probably my biggest advice. And when it comes to, I'll address like a second question. When someone asks you, tell me about yourself, what they typically are looking for is they want to see some sort of action and proactive actions towards, like going through your career. Like not everything was purposeful. So when someone asks, like, tell me a little bit about myself, you can start from anywhere. I usually typically start from how I got to college. So I would always tell them, I'm Ashley. I grew up in Orange County, California, and ever since I knew how to walk, I knew how to swim. I absolutely loved swimming. It was my sport for so long. I stuck it through, hoping to move to and go to college and swim as well. So that's why I went to Whitman College. I got recruited there to swim, and they had an excellent economics program, which is what I was interested in. And then you go into why you chose your major, And I chose my economics major because my dad had always talked to me about passive income and growing your network, and I was just really coached throughout my life about business, so that's what I was interested in. And you go from economics and like your college career into why you went into your summer jobs and something like that. So I would always say Like I wanted to continue swimming throughout my life and I wanted sports to be a part of my life. And that's why I was looking into the sportswear industry. So I um, applied to an internship at Adidas. And then you go into like post college. So I got a return offer from my job at Adidas, and now I'm here full time as a data analyst. So when someone says like they really want to get to know you and they want to hear a little bit about yourself, take them through the course of your working, your career life, your education, anything that matters to you, and show that you purposefully made those decisions based on of the past. um that would be my advice for that. And then the last question, so talked about imposter syndrome. Did it affect you during your interview process? It definitely affects me through my interview process more today. So right now I'm a data analyst at Adidas, but I most recently applied to some business development roles. Um, Business development is where I want to end up in my career, and I currently am a data analyst within like a supply chain network. So it's extremely different. Um, Being able to overcome imposter syndrome is really understanding and learning that the skills of a job and the experiences that you can get are all teachable. Anyone can learn them. What they're really looking for is a personality and um, a passion to really learn those type of things. They want to see if you're a quick learner. They want to see that you're really interested in the job, that you have things about your life that would make you interested in that job. So those are the things that I try to lean towards when it comes to interviewing, is being able to convey that, knowing that everyone in the room understands that these skills are teachable. So it's about being able to show your potential rather than that you can already do the job. All right. Um, if there's any last questions, I'm happy to answer, but also happy to pass it back to um, Anthony.
Thanks, Ashley, so much. This was really great, really informative, and thanks everyone for attending. So, really quick, I just want to say we're now going to have our corresponding mini event in Treasure Hacks. So, what that's going to be, just a quick overview, is it's going to be essentially you're going to get put into a pair with someone. So, we're going to, I'll give you guys the info in a second, but we're going to go over to our Discord server and we're going to put everyone into pairs of two, and you're going to take turns giving each other mock interviews. And this is just going to be a great way to just really reinforce all the skills and like tips that Ashley talked about today. And yeah, so really quickly, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to our Discord in the chat. Sorry, just one second. So everyone, here is the link for our Discord. And so if you guys can all go ahead and join.
All right. Thanks for having me, Treasure Hacks. Thanks everyone. Good luck with everything. You're free to reach out. I think my name is everywhere on all the documents that I shared, and you can definitely feel free to email me, message me on LinkedIn if you need any help with your resume or anything like that. When it comes to this next interview workshop, I would just encourage everyone to understand that being able to talk on your feet is a skill, and all skills need practice to be able to do better. This is going to be really great practice for you all as you practice doing this, because when you are doing an interview, you definitely might not be prepared for every single question that you get. Um, Type my name in the chat. This is my I'm sure you can find me on LinkedIn here, and I can also put in the link to my LinkedIn. But yeah, thanks again.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Discord auto mod just killed me. Um, yeah, as Ethan just posted in the chat, go over to the info channel in Treasure Hacks, and thank you, Q, for posting the link. If you can go over to the info channel and click on the button to join the event, that'll give you the role, and then also join the stage channel called Lobby, and just give us a few minutes while we get set up there, and if you wait in Lobby, we're going to give further information there. And also, just we want to ask everyone who's not going to be following us to Treasure Hacks if you're unable to attend. We do have a survey for students. It's for college and high school students, and it's just something to help us at Treasure Hacks provide you guys more cool opportunities like this resume workshop. So let me post you guys, or I'm gonna have Q post the link if he can. And if you guys could fill out the survey for us, that'd be really helpful, and it would help us give you guys great experiences like this in the future. But for everyone else who is going to go over to Treasure Hacks, yeah, go ahead and click on the join event button in the info channel and join the stage channel called Lobby to, we're going to start the event over there at 6:15. So yeah,